state perspective, that one of the most successful things that the National Endowment for the Arts does is build partnerships and collaborations within the federal government itself. The National Forest Service collaboration. I was involved with a project that when the Rhode Island Quarter was unveiled, the State Arts Council was involved in that process. The U.S. Mint came to us and had us work with them and the endowment to establish this artistic infusion project at the U.S. Mint that hires designers to design all the new coins and medals. And I think the new coins and medals have been looking spectacular as a result of that. Really great collaborations on a range of interfederal kinds of levels. And I hope you as Senator will encourage those kinds of partnerships.
I will do that very proudly, and I also want to just echo what Dana said, because one of the real areas of distress that our country needs to address is the unbelievable degradation of our standing internationally. And the way that that hurts us in so many different ways, not all visible, but all powerful and really dangerous in the long run for our country. I've never seen anything like it. I grew up as the son of a Foreign Service officer traveling all around the world, and I felt really welcome wherever I went. And even if there was something that was going on, people were fundamentally proud that America was there and looked to us in a very, very positive way. And for that to have flipped itself is a matter of real concern. And when we use the arts to reach out to other countries, two things happen. One, as Dana said, you're hitting people at their common point of humanity. But also, you're creating a direct connection between groups that can't be filtered by the political leadership on either side. So if, America thinks one thing and George Bush says something and Ahmadinejad hears something else, and then he tells the Iranian people something else, there's been an enormous potential set of gaps created by those transitions. Whereas if we're actually directly engaged with Iranian people or Egyptian people or Russian people or Chinese people or now North Korean of all things people, it's just a very helpful, healthy thing. And I just wanted to emphasize that point because I think it's really vital, particularly in the situation we're in right now in the world.
Great. Why don't we, can we bring the house lights up on the chance? Why don't we take a minute for some questions from the audience?
Look, people.
There are people out there. Hope.
Hi, I'm Hope Walsh. I'm the director of the Museum of Art at the Rhode Island School of Design, and we have been recipients of a lot of wonderful money from the NEA, and we're thrilled to have you here today, as we are thrilled to have our senator. But I have to speak candidly about what we in this state face and what we face nationally, which is the arts education you're discussing today is delivered by vibrant arts organizations. And this state is particularly rich in theater companies and museums and very rich in music. But if from a programmatic perspective, as those guidelines are developed nationally, and I ask you to be mindful of this, if the well-being of the core of these organizations isn't considered, we can't deliver the programs that make this such an important outreach to young people. So just be mindful that delivering those programs as part of our artistic mission is something we all hold very dear, but we also have to be strong and vibrant arts organizations. And our practitioners, our curators, our actors, our musicians have to have sustenance to survive. And I just speak, I think, on all of our behalf, that if you want us to be the front line, and we want that, you also have to remember there is the artistic piece of that operation, which is enormous. This state is very small, and we are very, very rich in a whole variety of people in all of the arts. I speak with real pride because the Rhode Island School of Design, obviously, in the visual arts and design, is probably the national leader. But please be mindful, and I say this to our senator, that when you're thinking about the legislation that makes us a rich arts culture, that those fundamental issues that supply us with general operating support, that create opportunities that strengthen the environment for our artists, is really essential if we are going to be at the table delivering the art education that we all want to do. And that's just a very heartfelt plea.
If I can build on something you said, I think one of the obvious things, right, that in the United States we're about at the NEA to publish a report on artistic employment in the U.S. We have about 2 million people in the United States who define their primary occupation as artist. Now, the thing about most of these artists is they aren't unemployed, but they're underemployed. This country is full of actors that are acting 3-4 months of the year, singers who are singing maybe 6-7 weeks a year, musicians who have lots of downtime, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We have in this country everyone we need to create arts education programs. They're living in the communities that need to be served. And what we need to create is a mechanism in which we can have the artists, serve their own communities. And so I think that we have the resources, we have the issue. What we need really is the connection. And so, it's a big issue. It's not primarily, I hasten to add, an NEA issue. I mean, we have gone so far, don't tell anybody in the Senate, so far over our mandates because the problem is so extraordinarily important. And we felt that somebody needed to take leadership in terms of bringing this issue to the public.
The infrastructure point is a key one. I just want to also thank you for the wonderful, wonderful tour that you gave Chairman Leahy when he came into town. Pat Leahy of Vermont is one of the senior, most distinguished, most powerful members of the United States Senate. He came into town to do an event for my colleague Jack Reed, and I said, well, what would you like to do? He said, I want to go to that museum. So you made a big fan.
Anyone over this side? Herb?
Hi, I'm Herbert Weiss. I'm from the city of Pawtucket. We have discovered that arts is an economic engine. Besides finding truth, beauty, and goodness, it rebuilds a community. And we are having our biggest buildings movement in 40 years because we've embraced the arts, and it's taken a decade to do this. What can NEA do to support cities to create an infrastructure to be artist-friendly, to create arts districts, to bring people into blighted areas?
Well, let me take this opportunity to introduce our newest director at the NEA, Maurice Cox. We just had our new director of design, who is not only a trained architect and a professor of design and architecture, was former mayor of Charlottesville, Virginia. And one of I think the best and maybe one of the least known programs we have in the NEA is the Mayor's Institute, in which mayors that are looking to redesign downtowns, create art districts, can actually get together with national experts, bring their plan there to be critiqued. And so I would encourage any civic leader with one of these plans to apply for our Mayor's Institute. We just did one actually in Providence about 6 months ago. But that's something that we would do. And the other thing is to look at some of the data that we have available about the impact, because part of what you need to do is to make a plausible civic argument within your own community of why this is going to work and how it's going to work, and then have the organizations apply.
Do you have any funds to give the cities?
And I think this is a very good idea. We have no brick and mortar funds, because what we did, all of our money would be going towards brick and mortar projects. We fund the programs, and we fund some of the designs, that go into it. But what we really, need to have is a consensus and a support from within the community itself that it wants to change, because those are the ones that are going to be successful. And then, we become a partner as you get going.
The story is a very impressive one. I hope you should look into it a little bit further, because it really has just lit up the city, which was in a very tough state, typical New England, Milltown, blue-collar area. And what they've done to make it a very lively arts community center has been phenomenal.
Art?